Hey guys, John here. I'm really happy I stumbled upon this post in particular because I have a lot of things to say about this one. So here we go. It says, is mixing slash mastering viable on headphones? And as things change, in my opinion, I think for the most part, yes. However, it's also wise to check on other speakers and systems and rooms and so on to kind of just understand where everything's fitting. But for the bulk of the work, I think absolutely. I think for the people who are saying you only need to have this perfect mastering studio with everything super set up, like those people, yes, they're going to make great products, absolutely. But that's just not the reality that we live in. And furthermore, people who listen to songs or some of the favorite songs, they don't care or they don't even know. If it sounds good to them, it sounds good to them. If it's a good song, it's a good song. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need this gigantic mastering studio with top of the line gear, and especially that was kind of true a while ago, but now plugins and headphones and just gear in general, mostly software, has gotten so good to the point where it's kind of hard to tell. So keep that in mind. So that's just kind of my take on that. So he goes and writes in, I have absolutely zero acoustic treatment, which it's no surprise most of us don't, right? It costs a lot of money. And so I would need to pay for that too, which ain't nobody going to be spending money on that right now. I'll tell you that right now. Um, but but I only have around 450 pounds to spend on either monitors or headphones for mixing and mastering. Boom, easy job. Headphones. Don't even go the monitor route if you don't have your room set up the way you need to or the right treatment. Monitors are probably, or speakers specifically, it's probably going to be more of a detriment to you than it's going to be a net positive. And I say that because if you get a pair of headphones, these pair of headphones will sound the same almost everywhere I go. I mean, sure, there's the differences of preamps and or headphone amps and so on and so forth, what you're plugging it into. Yes, I get that. However, for the most part, it's going to be the same room here. So you sitting in, I don't know, a train station, obviously with noise and stuff, but you get what I'm saying. It's going to sound the same every time. So once you really get used to those headphones, you're going to know where things sit and where they're not supposed to sit, what they sound, what the balance of everything is. So that's something to think about. It says, what monitors would you get for that price? If you're actually talking about speakers, don't even do that. 450 pounds for speakers, you're not going to be happy. I made that mistake. My first pair, I think, were there were Mackeys. I think the MR5s. I want to say they don't make them anymore, probably because they sounded good for just music in general, but for mixing on them, maybe it's just because I sucked at that time. That's very likely. But I just couldn't get a mix to translate very well. And now I spend like however much they cost, maybe around that price range for two of them. And after the novelty wore off, I'm like, dang it, John, I made a mistake. I done goofed up right there, right? I bought speakers that really didn't help me only because I wanted studio speakers. Bad move. So there's that quote that's buy cheap, buy twice. So you're essentially going to be paying double that price, which if you would have just bought the good thing at that time, the first time, you probably should have done that. So moving on from that, I eventually I was like, I'm not doing this mistake again. I saved up my money and I bought Atom audio speakers, the AX7s, which I don't think they make those anymore. I think there's like a new updated version, but that was like over 10 years ago, and those things are still great. They still work. There's no problems. The way that I was able to translate stuff, like how I balanced things in the mix and then brought it to the car, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Easy. So it almost felt like a big weight was lifted off my shoulders because before we could just like God, I feel like I'm old and a senior citizen, but before we could just like Bluetooth to your car or like put something on your phone and go listen to it that way. I would buy CDRs and just blank CDs and just burn one mix on a CD and then go out to the car, put that in my CD player and listen to it. I'm like, God dang it, this thing sucks. And I just have another one. I just snapped the CD because I was just frustrated. But anyway, that's a whole other tangent there. And he says the same question goes with headphones. Are headphones in that price range viable for mixing and mastering? Yes, absolutely. At least I think so. I'm looking for the Hi X-65s by Austrian Audio. It's funny because those are the ones I use all the time, and these are fantastic. But I'm looking for more advice, really. And then he posts the link for Austrian Audio Hi X-65s, professional open back over ear headphones, black. Okay, so maybe I'm biased because I use these headphones, but maybe I'm not because I've spent a lot of hours on them. I will say these are the most comfortable headphones I have ever worn in my entire life. The second I put these on, I'm like, oh my God, this feels like a cloud on my head. I hope to God they sound good because I don't want to take them off. And then at the same time, I was like, oh, open backs. I don't know how to feel about open back. It's kind of a niche, weird thing. But I was like, okay, let me just see how it feels. I put them on, loaded up some synths, started making patches. I'm like, oh my god, these things sound good. I'm like, okay, they sound good, but is that good, right? If I have a pair of headphones and everything sounds good on them, how do you know it's actually good? So then I'd start like putting some mixes together, seeing how things would translate or how patches would sound on different types of systems and different headphones. And I was very happy. And not to mention, I've never felt ear fatigue. And I wear these things a lot, like especially working on packs or a track or whatever it is, or not even just music in general, just wearing them for whatever reason. I haven't gotten ear fatigue, and that was one thing that really pissed me off with the Sony MDR 7506s. I used to be so obsessed with those headphones, and they have their place. They have their place, but now I'm a new John, and I hate those things. I will throw those in the trash can if I have to wear those. Like I will just not wear them at all. They suck for me personally. You might love them. Might have a different opinion. That's fine. I don't like them. And the reason was because they hurt my ears after, if I was in a session for like 4 or 5 hours or something, I'd take them off. I'm like, oh my God, I have a headache. My ears hurt. They're starting to ring. I'm like, this is bad. I'm probably doing some hearing damage, which luckily I don't think I have at this point. So from then, I was always a big fan of Adam Audio, and I was reading in a magazine. I was like, oh my God, they make headphones, the SP5. I got to buy those. And I did. And then I put those on, and they were very uncomfortable. Fully honest, they were very uncomfortable. It kind of hurt my ears, but they sounded good. They sounded really good. I'm like, dang, this sucks, man. I have headphones that sound amazing, but they feel awful on my head. So I would have to take breaks and taking them off, and like the tips of my ears would hurt. And it's like the only weird thing I can equivalent that to is like, when you've worn a sock for a while and you take it off, and like the hair on your leg hurts because you've worn a sock too long. I don't know. That's what I got. So Austrian Audio, that was the point where I was like, okay, I got the comfort down and I got the sound that I want, and it sounds great. Everything sounded fine to me, and everything where I balanced it at, it sounded good. I put stuff in the car, put it here. I'm like, this is exactly how I wanted it to sound. So I felt like I could actually trust these headphones, and I haven't gone back since. I probably won't plan to do that either. I think I'm just gonna ride or die for these things the whole time. That's it. I love these puppies. So if you have a chance to check them out, go for it. You should always check out headphones before you get them, because you might think, oh, John loves those, he's talking them up. But once you put on your heads, you're like, I don't like how this sounds. It's a very plausible situation that could happen. But I would say, at least for me personally, I think they're great. You got a lot of cool. You got like the different cables inside the box. The ear cushions can come on and off if you need to get replacements. They're metal housing. They're pretty good quality. I've dropped them a few times. I'm like, oh my God, I have to buy these again. But no, they were fine. I've taken them everywhere. I've taken them here, there, on planes. They've lasted. Whereas the 7506s, with addition to my cat biting through the cables, they would probably last maybe a year or two. And then like the if you have those, or if you had those, that ear, whatever material that is, would start breaking off, and it would get on my face, and the side of my face would stick to it. I'm like, oh, what is this? Is this like a 5 o'clock shadow or something? It'd be weird. So yeah. So to wrap kind of all this whole thing up, I know we went on some tangents there. However, I will say, is mixing and mastering viable on headphones? Absolutely. Most people, I think, do that now, because not everybody has access or the money or the time to go in a studio and let's put up all the Neve faders. Like, that's not a reality nowadays. I mean, sure, that's far here and in between that you can do that, but if you look around, a lot of studios or big studios have either closed down, or they have to charge an astronomical price, which they have to, in this time and age. Whereas most people are going to say, might as well like save my money, get a nice interface, some headphones, and just do it myself with enough practice and so on and so forth. I think that's the majority of people nowadays. And what's kind of funny is that music also nowadays does sound really good. I mean, stuff sounds polished. Software's getting better, gear's getting better. Like, an interface is easy to afford, right? If you don't want to go the whole sound design route, you can just get packs out there, put some stuff together, get some loops, and you can have a pretty good sounding song. And you don't need these huge format consoles that might add like 5 or 10% to it. So there's that as well. So that's kind of just the wrapping up of that. And again, the X-65s from Austrian Audio, top-notch headphones. I don't think I'll ever go back. I love these things. As you could see from, from the previous podcasts and stuff, they're just great headphones all around. So yeah, that wraps this up here. What are some of these people here saying? Like, there's going to be naysayers all over this thread. Don't listen to them. Reddit is filled with aspiring mix and mastering engineers. Yeah, that's true. That will happily take your money, even though their services won't get you a single stream or listener. Yeah, like just do it yourself at that point. I mean, it's hard at first. I get it, but the more it's like anything, the more you practice, the more you can do. And software is great nowadays. Embrace DIY and make it work. Yep, 100%. Shoot for good enough instead of perfection. Absolutely, yeah. Call your music demos if you get too much flack from people. I've never heard that one. That's it's just a demo, guys. It's not the final mix. It's just what I've been cooking up. It's whatever, no big deal. But good enough. I mean, your music needs to be good enough that people will either connect with it or not. I mean, that's true. And also a lot of that has to do with songwriting and just the emotions that you invoke in your song. I've talked about that before, like back in the day, like AC/DC's mixes are awful, but the songs are great, and I still listen to them and I still love it. So something to think about. As far as headphones goes, there are some additional challenges. Room simulation, yeah, that's true. I have messed around with that, especially with those MDR 7506s. I did the whole, God, I can't remember what they were called. It was like some room emulation at the time. I forget the software's name. Sonic something maybe, I don't know. But basically they would profile your headphones, and then you can load that on your master chain and see what different headphones would sound like, or correct your the curve of the headphones. And for me personally, I think that's horrible advice, because in the short term, yes, it could maybe make your mixes sound better because you have these headphones and you're kind of balancing them out to what they should be. However, that's going to be your crutch now. So let's say you're so used to that sound, right, of those headphones and that EQ curve applied, and then you have to go do a session somewhere else where you don't have that plugin. So it's kind of like you need your fixin' to mix or to put something together, and then you put your headphones on, you raw dog those right into your computer, and you're not even going to know what things sound like. You're not going to balance it. People are like, this guy sucks, man. You're like, no, I'm just relying on this room software, this, and it's a whole spiel. So at that point, just get good headphones, so you don't need to do that. Which 65s are great. That's the thing. That's just my tangent. Sonar works. That was it. Could have just read a little bit further down. Yeah. So there's that, and then there's also like the concept where if you're listening to speakers, your right ear's going to hear what's coming in from the left channel or coming out from the left channel, and vice versa. Headphones don't really do that. And there's some simulations. I think it's like Can Opener that does that. So also something to think about. So there is ways, right? That's kind of true. But yeah, I'm not a what does he say? I'm not a professional mix or mastering engineer, but I am familiar with the subject. You need to get familiar with it, whatever you're mixing on. Absolutely. Play other artist tracks that are considered good examples of mixing and mastering. Yeah, just reference things and practice, and you're going to be surprised. The more you do it, the better you get. So it's kind of like that. So I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it. I know I have. I'm like, I don't have the perfect room, the perfect treatment in this, and the diffusion. It's like, that would be cool, but we have to come back to reality and what can we do with the tools that we have. And nowadays our tools are pretty damn good. So yeah, that is that. Check out those headphones or these headphones. You'll never go back. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.